The quieter you become, the more you can hear. Ramdas, let's be real, in a world where everyone's posting something, silence has become suspicious. If someone doesn't post, we start wondering, are they okay? Did something happen? Or why are they hiding? But maybe, just maybe, they're the ones who are actually living. Today, let's talk about the psychology of people who don't post on social media, not from a judgmental place, but from a real, honest, human one. Because not everyone wants to share their breakfast, their workout, or their heartbreak online. And that doesn't make them weird, it might just make them free. Social media has turned into a digital stage. Everyone's performing. Everyone's curating. The filters, the captions, the angles, it's like everyone's running their own little show. And there's nothing wrong with that, really. Humans have always wanted to express themselves and connect. But here's the thing, some people are wired differently. Some don't crave that spotlight. They're not chasing likes, followers, or validation. They're not even against social media, they just don't feel the need to be seen all the time. And that quietness, that's not emptiness. That's peace. Psychologically, people who don't post much, or at all, often share a few traits. They tend to be more introspective. They spend more time thinking before reacting. They value privacy. And in a world obsessed with showing everything, privacy has become the new luxury. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." For some people, that journey doesn't happen in the comments section or on a story. It happens in silence, in reflection, in journaling, in prayer, or even in long walks without a phone in their hand. They're not detached. They're just tuned in, but to a different frequency. Let's think about it this way. Social media rewards extroversion. The loudest voices get the most attention. But quiet doesn't mean antisocial. Sometimes people who don't post are actually more observant. They see everything. They notice patterns. They understand people deeply. They just don't feel the need to broadcast their thoughts. It's like that friend who doesn't talk much in a group chat, but when they finally say something, everyone listens. That's the power of restraint. Albert Einstein once said, "The monotony and solitude of a quiet life stimulates the creative mind." And he was right. Many people who don't post are quietly creating, building, or healing behind the scenes. While everyone else is scrolling, they're working on their next chapter. They're not avoiding the world, they're mastering it from a distance. There's also something deeper going on here, the psychology of validation. Social media is built to give us that hit of dopamine. You post something, people like it, and your brain lights up. It feels good. But when you stop posting or never post at all, you start to find validation somewhere else. Instead of, how many people saw this, your focus shifts to, how did this make me feel? That's growth. That's maturity. People who don't post often have learned to be self-sufficient emotionally. They don't need external applause to feel enough. As Oscar Wilde once said, "To love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance." That's what's happening here. It's not arrogance, it's contentment. But let's be honest, not posting doesn't always come from peace. Sometimes it comes from pain. Some people stop posting because they're tired of comparing, tired of pretending, tired of feeling like they're not enough. They've seen too much fake perfection and thought, what's the point? And that's okay too. Because stepping back from social media can be an act of self-care. It's saying, I need to breathe without performing. There's a quote by Søren Kierkegaard that says, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. When people step away from posting, they're often trying to understand their own story before they share it again. They're giving themselves space to live without having to explain. That's wisdom in action. Here's the wild part, though. People who don't post are often misunderstood. The world reads silence as mystery or sometimes as arrogance. But really, it's just clarity. They're not disappearing. They're just choosing peace over noise. When you don't post, you start to realize that your worth doesn't shrink because no one saw your day. The best moments aren't always the ones you capture, they're the ones you feel. Think about the last time you saw a sunset but didn't take a photo. You just stood there and let it happen. That's presence. That's rare now. There's another layer to this energy protection. The more you share, the more opinions you attract. Everyone's got something to say, and not all of it is kind or true. Some people have learned that silence keeps their energy pure. They'd rather live their joy privately than defend it publicly. Maya Angelou once said, "Never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option." That applies to social media too. Some folks realize that posting their lives for people who barely care isn't worth the emotional effort. They'd rather invest that energy in real relationships, people who call, not just comment. Here's something else. People who don't post much often have stronger boundaries. They've realized that not everyone deserves access to their emotions, routines, or family moments. They're not hiding, they're protecting. In a way, it's like digital fasting. You take a step back to reconnect with yourself. You stop chasing validation and suddenly your mind feels lighter. You stop comparing and suddenly gratitude grows. You start to understand what really matters, not the post, but the peace. So next time you see someone who's quiet online, don't assume they're missing out. They might be the ones who are actually winning, not in followers, but in freedom. They're out there living unfiltered moments, laughing without recording, praying without posting, growing without showing. They're living proof that life doesn't have to be on display to be meaningful. And maybe, just maybe, they've figured out something the rest of us are still chasing. Here's the truth. Whether you post or not, what really matters is why you do what you do. If you post out of joy, keep doing it. If you post out of insecurity, maybe pause. If you don't post because you're at peace, that's beautiful. If you don't post because you're afraid, maybe ask yourself what you're hiding from. Because the goal isn't to delete your social media or start posting again. The goal is to be authentic online or offline. To show up as you, not as who you think people want to see. So here's my call to you. Take a moment today to check in with yourself. When was the last time you did something amazing and didn't tell anyone about it? When was the last time you just lived no filter, no caption, no story? Try it again. Do something beautiful and keep it to yourself. Watch how powerful that feels. And if you ever feel pressured to post just to prove you're redoing okay, remember this. The people who truly care about you don't need proof. They just need you. As Lao Tzu said, "He who knows does not speak. He who speaks does not know." Sometimes silence isn't a lack of voice, it's a sign of strength. If this message hit home for you, take a second not to post about it, but to reflect on it. Then, if you're feeling inspired, share this video with someone who might need a reminder that it's okay to step back. And hey, if you want more real talk like this, subscribe, stick around, and let's keep building a community that values depth over display. Because sometimes the people who don't post, they're the ones who are truly living.